Hey, welcome to another Q&A for the 2023 San Francisco Independent Short Film Festival. This program is very spooky, scary, short and scary. Woo! We got the filmmakers here with us, some of them, and thank you guys for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Hey, filmmakers, it's great that you can join us. Where's everyone calling from? I got Ron up in my corner here. Where are you calling from, Ron?
The west coast of Hawaii, the Big Island, about 20 miles north of Kona.
Fantastic. Thanks for flying in. Good to have you. And then I got my next window here is Tori. Tori, where are you calling from?
I'm calling in from Brooklyn in New York City.
I love that city. Thank you. Got friends there. Thanks for being here. Delaney, you're next on my screen.
I am calling from outer space, Los Angeles.
Yeah, where are you? You look like outer space. Is that Hal's Pod or 2001 Space Odyssey?
Actually, it's close. It's Alien. It's Alien. So
okay.
Very
okay.
fun.
Yeah. Right. And then Sarah, and last but not least, where are you calling from?
Hi, I'm calling from New Orleans.
And Sarah, since I'm on you, could you just tell us your role and your movie you're associated with?
Absolutely. Uh-oh, I see I've been signed out because I'm on another device. Ooh, let's see if I disappear.
No, you're still here.
Still here? Ah, excellent. Hi, I'm Sarah Young, and I'm the writer-director of Not Him.
Not Him, fantastic. And you have another colleague, Tori. Introduce your role on Not Him.
Hi, I'm Tori, and I played the lead in Not Him.
You look a little different. Now I recognize you. Now I'm starting to see it. Your hair was a little bit fuller and out and down. Yes. Good to have you here. And then how about Ron and Delaney? What were your positions, roles, involvement?
Ron Osborne, the writer of Dead Connection.
And I wrote, and I directed Dead Connection. I wrote something else, but I did direct Dead Connection.
Well, since we're talking about writing your shorts, how did your writing process evolve? How did you get the inspiration for Dead Connection?
Well, it was accidental. We had another film, which we also submitted to this, called Animus, a 10-minute film that was a much bigger production. And the week before we were going to start filming, we lost our lead actress, a woman named Nancy Travis, to a production in Canada. And that weekend, we had the sets all, a warehouse of sets basically rented that we couldn't, we had to use one way or the other.
We postponed the shoot, so we had this location that we couldn't get the deposit back on.
Right.
Was the location the one that was for the autopsy for the coroner?
Well, no, it wasn't. No,
it was a bunch of sets.
And on Wednesday night, the producer, Hara Gedalian, who's not here, called and said, hey, can you come up with a 1 or 2 page script that we can shoot this weekend? And basically, I came up with some ideas on Thursday. Delaney and Harag approved them. I wrote it Friday. We cast it Friday night and filmed Saturday.
Wow. Yeah. Well, pretty scary, pretty spooky. We'll get into that. What about your inspiration for Not Him, ladies?
So I'm primarily a director. This was actually my first time writing my own script. I knew that I was interested in approaching that part of myself, and I've been sort of opening myself up to the universe for inspiration. I knew I wanted it to be a horror script. I'm really interested in that genre, and I love genre storytelling. And then one night I had this terrible nightmare that was the opening, literally like shot for shot, the opening scene of the film. And I woke up and panicked and grabbed my phone and started taking down notes, and the rest of the script just flowed from there.
Wow. Pretty seamless. It seems like it came right out of you. Now, not to get too heavy here, but it does have themes of domestic abuse and violence, which would have allowed us to put in different sort of programs or categories, but it was pretty frightening too. Domestic violence is frightening, but your film is pretty scary.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, I would thank you for highlighting that. Yeah, the initial scene was a nightmare that I think came from, to get a little more deep on it, came some very deep-seated fears that I have around domestic violence. I have 2 women that I'm actually close to that have experienced forms of this. And sadly, that's probably not rare, right? Like a lot of people watching this and people on the screen very likely have their own relationships to it. So it was one of those things where that's why I love genre storytelling, right? You can dive in and do into these topics that are so hard to talk about and so deeply important to society, but approach them in a way that I think is accessible and, in some ways just good to generate conversations around them.
Yeah, indeed. Your film does, purely from the entertainment standpoint to the topics we're talking about right now. Yeah, well done. And how did, Tori, how did you become involved with Not Him?
Well, Sarah and I actually went to grad school together at the New School. And so she was in the directing track, I was in the acting track, but we worked together a lot while we were there. And so we've become collaborators. This is our second film that we've made together. The first one I wrote, and then this one she wrote and directed. But I love working with Sarah. I always enjoy her unique perspective, and also I just trust her so much. So yeah, it was a real pleasure.
Did that experience together make working on project number 2 easier? Or was there some things that just became shorthand, for example?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Sarah's the kind of director that really lets the actor take the lead, and that she trusts us to do our job, which I really appreciate. But then, there would be these moments where I might like look at her and be like, I don't know. And she would catch my eye right away, and she would come over and we'd have like a little sidebar with myself and maybe the other actor. And Sarah's great at giving the kind of direction that just launches you right into action. So you're not like stuck in your head for a long time. Sarah's really good at just being like, okay, let's try this, do it like that. Like, think about this and let's just do it and let's just try it. She's really willing to play and experiment on set, which I always find really exciting and fun. And so, yes, the shorthand was definitely there and was a huge benefit for me.
And then you guys, Dead Connection, just one actor, one performer, short and sweet and tight. And how was working with your actor, and how did he do without having to bounce, discussion dialogue off anybody?
Funny, as Ron said, the script was, we had the location on a Saturday. The script was written at about midnight on a Wednesday. So we had an actor somewhere in between who ended up dropping out. And then literally the morning of the midnight, the night before, the Friday night, we got Nima, who I'd worked with before on a few things, and he took off work and came and joined us, and he did great. He was he has a great look, and if I'm not going to give away the film, but there was
chances are people have already watched the film that are watching this Q&A.
So he's kind of playing off of something. There is a presence in the room that he and then there's a phone, so he's able to play off those things. But yeah, it was a pleasure. We shot the whole thing in like an hour and a half, 2 hours. So it was just like go. I mean, talk about jumping into action, where they were like, get out of here. We had that location again because we had it and we weren't shooting that day. So we did a table read for the other film. We did a tech scout for the other film. We shot a fake commercial. We also, our producer brought his whole family in to do like Mother's Day photos. So they showed up looking like it was like they were coming from church with a professional photographer on the site. So we're doing all these things. And then we shot this last.
Yeah. I love that. I love the shortness of it, the brevity of it. And
it makes you think, why can't we do these every week, right?
Right. Yeah, right. Why aren't we doing this kind of short film every week? Why aren't we? You guys are short filmmakers. Have each of you made feature films? Anybody been involved in feature films as well?
Yeah.
Ron, probably more than any of us. I'll just go out on a limb and predict that.
So why a short film? I'll get back to your movies, but why a short film and not a feature film? Why spend the time on a short film?
Well, to get something made, number one, I also come from television, which I actually enjoyed more than features because literally you turn something out every week.
Right.
And it's been a while, but Delaney and I have been talking about doing a project going into the pandemic. I had an idea for a real-time feature that is basically one extended car ride. And we talked about it, and during the pandemic, I wrote it, and there was nothing we could do with it at the time. And in the meantime, Harag, our producer, had come to me and asked if I had any short films because he had a connection with a brand called Fangoria. Have we heard of this? The magazine? Then they wanted to get into developing proofs of concept. So I did have an idea. I wrote up a one-pager, and Fangoria never was supposed to get money for this incubator to turn out proofs of concept that they would then produce as films. Well, the money never came through for that, and Harag said, well, the heck with this. We're just going to make Animus, this 10-minute short. And that suddenly I was thrown into the world of short filmmaking.
Right. Lady, how about you? Or I guess Sarah, why didn't you just go for a feature? I mean, you could have made a feature on the themes your film covers.
I'd very much like to, actually. That's the idea. We would love to continue to expand this concept into a feature length. We've been developing the story, and I think it could make a really compelling feature. We also have a couple other ideas for horror features that we're interested in exploring. Really right now, we've just started our festival run. This is actually our second festival, so we're very excited to be here. And, we're going to see where it goes over the next year or two and try to drum up some interest. And certainly if anybody's watching that's interested in seeing this continue on a feature, hit me up, because what we're really lacking is just, what everyone's lacking, funds. If we can raise the capital, we will certainly continue this story. We're very passionate about it.
You were in $1 million budget for Not Him?
We were not. No, it was in fact a micro budget. We were made on the SAG micro budget agreement. So we made sure everyone got paid. That was really important to us. But beyond that, it was a lot of using Tori's apartment, for example, and doing things on the fly.
Nice apartment. How do you know it's scary? I know it's kind of vague, but when you're writing it or when you're acting it or when you how do you know you got scary? How do you know, what I mean? Do you know this is frightening or this is going to be scary? What makes it scary? Hey, Sarah, I'll just continue with you. Maybe you don't know. It's just you hope.
No, I think that's a great question. My take on that is that there were a few times during the shooting where I got deeply, deeply uncomfortable. I wouldn't say, this is the type of film that I think the scares were delivered in post, with the edit, with the music, with the pacing, but the sort of deep existential dread of this piece, because it is connected to something so real, to domestic violence. There were several moments on set where I felt like we were hitting something really raw, and I was feeling deeply, deeply uncomfortable. And at one point, our makeup artist had to step out because they were saying, this is just too real, too triggering for me. I need to step out of the room, which of course we 100% respected. We were being very careful on the set to understand that we were dealing with very important, very real emotions. And so we were being extremely mindful of everyone's tolerance for the subject. There was a moment where our cameraman, during the dinner scene, when the camera is right in the husband's face and he's just gaslighting, where the cameraman had to stop and take a minute because he was right there in it with him. So I would say this in particular film, it wasn't so much about jump scares or heart pounding, but there were several moments where I knew that we were touching something very real because I could feel it.
Yeah. Now remembering your film, too. It's in the performance as well. It's probably in the script, but then your performers brought it out because I was anxious or dreading with Tori's character, and I didn't want to be in the room with her husband. Especially at the dinner scene when it's this is all bullshit. She's gotta cry for help, But then she just escapes to the bedroom to try and address the fake falsely. So Tori, talk about scary performances.
Yeah, I mean, I think I actually feel like I had a similar experience to Sarah. You know, a lot of people have asked me about the big fight sequence when the husband character and I are getting really physical, and he's, you know, that scene was really not scary for me at all to shoot because we had such a great fight and intimacy coordinator, and we
Oh.
really did it by the numbers. So like it felt like a choreographed dance, and it was just filling that with, you know, of course, like the acting and the feelings of the character. But I never felt personally afraid while shooting that. I felt very, very safe. And it was during the dinner scene that I had my strongest, um, as an actor, feelings of fear, like where the line between the character and I blurred a little bit in that moment. And I was like, whoa, this is a lot. And yeah, I think the brilliance of that scene is that the stakes are so high and only two people at the table are really aware of that, and the other two aren't yet. And of course, just the dynamics between the husband and the abusive gaslighting really like diminishing and cutting down of my character was just so affecting. So
Yeah, yeah, indeed. I think so too. You guys, Dead Connection. I gotta tell you, a frightening moment for the ring, the phone ring, and I'm not giving it away because people watch the movie in the body. Uncomfortable right now thinking about it. Well, very imaginative.
Well, I think when a phone rings anytime during the day, it's scary.
True. That's a good one. Yeah, it definitely causes unease. But I just thought that was brilliant. And then all the little touches, like your set, was that a real?
It was a standing
art
set.
direction?
So it was one of these places that had a hospital room and it had a
Is that a
bar.
real coroner's office?
No, it was a set. I mean, they had a lot of real things from a coroner's office
Well, kudos to your art department. Make sure you tell them I said that.
well, that was like two of us. It was literally, it was, you know, it was like actually three of us that day.
It was you and Ron.
I can compliment the set, the actual location.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And
it's hard. The scary thing is hard because if you think of something when you're inspired to write something or shoot something that's scary in your head and you want to convey that, when you're on set and there's people and there's lights and then you do it over and over, and then in the editing room when you see it over and over, it's that thing where, you know, I've lost the initial feeling of it. So is it scary? I suppose that's an argument for finding for not editing something yourself. It's like, okay,
fresh eyes. Yep.
I don't know if this is scary anymore.
Right. Yeah. Or where just a movie in general loses its initial impact because it's not fresh anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You need fresh eyes. You know, and because scary, like what you guys have created, as opposed to the post scary, you know, a jump cut, a quick reveal, something like that, which is kind of gimmicky but still effective. It's harder to do what you guys did without those things. Even though, you know, like in Not Him, you know, adding the eyes to the husband, well done. You know, you could have gone, you were just on the edge of going too far, right? You know what I mean? If you made it a monster face, and then it's like too much, but just the eyes was a perfect amount.
Yeah, because it's so dark. It's like, am I seeing this? Are his eyes real or is it just dark? It's, you know, you're kind of always second guessing. That was cool.
Yeah. And
thank you.
Yeah,
I was just going to say real quick, that was a practical effect. We did the contacts. That seemed to be the best way to go about it. They were deeply uncomfortable for the actor. He was a champ. We were making sure that we didn't put them in until we were ready to roll, and we got that as efficiently as possible. But thank you. Yeah, the practical contacts were very effective.
I'm going to order some for myself.
Can we post the link to it? I've not seen this. I'd love to.
Sure. Well,
the link is in one of those emails. I'll forward it to Ron.
Yeah, we'll talk about it after we finish this call. And then on you guys too, you know, the runny nose, the bloody nose, very subtle and less is more. Well done. That you didn't like, I don't know, have them explode or something. You know what I mean?
That was real too. That was practical. The blood.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Real blood.
Yeah. Any well, Dead Connection, you had challenges just making the other movie. That was your challenge. I was going to ask you what a challenge of making your movie was. Maybe Not Him. You guys, what was the challenge you had? A little bit longer film than Dead Connection. Any challenges?
Yeah, I think that because Tori and I worked on one other short before this in the heart of the pandemic. So that was full of so many just practical shooting challenges that I had to take a moment to remember challenges on Not Him. I think the shoot itself went very smooth on Not Him. I think the challenge around Not Him really was approaching the subject matter in a way that was going to be as safe as possible and mindful of the health of everybody on that set, because, you know, yes, it's a horror film, yes, it's fiction, but it is dealing with very real things. So I think that was the biggest challenge, was just, you know, casting the role of the husband, honestly, was huge, because we needed somebody that could pull it off. Charlie is an incredible actor, and he is amazing in the film, and he's the nicest guy. Like, that was honestly so important. We needed someone who was going to be a wonderful person on set and wasn't going to be pulled into this world and be, I mean, my priority was, I knew that fight scene existed. I wanted to make sure that Tori had a partner in that scene that was going to keep her safe. And Charlie not only kept her safe, but ruined a couple of takes because he got scared he hurt her. Stopped mid and went, "Oh my God, are you okay?" I'm like, "She's fine. Roll."
Well, good casting. Yeah, he had a challenging, both Tori and he had challenging acting jobs, if you will. You know, kind of switching from contentedness to, you know, drama. So they did well on that. Yeah, good casting. And then. What was your favorite moments, all of you, making your movies? Do you have a favorite scene, something you pulled off, or something you just like, that came out better than I expected, or even anecdotal? Like, we got this despite the fact that. What's your favorite? How about you, Sarah? I'm on you.
I'll jump in. I think every time I see the sequence where it's Tori and Catherine Chin as the other actress in the bedroom with the "Don't Leave" sequence, I'm proud as a filmmaker, but I'm even more proud just as an artist, because that scene for me reads so incredibly true in that moment of the need to ask for help. But that switch, as soon as her friend threatens to talk to the husband, and Tori's character's fear for the friend starts becoming the dominant emotion, just watching that switch happen and feeling that moment, for me, it seems so relevant for people in that situation when they want so badly to be believed and to be helped. And yet there are so many things preventing them from being able to truly ask for help. And I just feel like the acting in that scene was flawless. Tori does an incredible job in that moment, and I'm just really proud.
Yeah, it's a great scene. And maybe you answered this already, but it leads me to another question. Why did you bring kind of the thriller horror genre into this? Why didn't you just stay on direct point for that, you know, domestic violence?
I have thoughts around that. Thank you so much for the question. My love for genre filmmaking, sci-fi, horror, and fantasy, is that you are able to deal with these incredibly real and incredibly hard to talk about subjects in a way that the word safe keeps coming up to me. I don't know that that's quite the right word, but it's approachable. It's a thing that we can all watch and know this is fiction. This is a fictionalized account. That guy is a demon. You know, this is metaphor. You know, we can talk about this. This is a safe thing to talk about. If we had just gone, this is the story of a woman whose husband is being abusive, like, that's a very valuable story. And if someone would rather fund that film, I'm super into it. But
well said. I think you answered it exactly. Yeah, that makes sense.
That's it.
Well said. But back to the previous question, Tori, a favorite filmmaking moment from Not Him, or something you want to share?
I think that a favorite filmmaking moment while we were on set was just that we had such a lovely cast and crew, but the cast and Sarah, we all really got along super well. And so there was a lot of laughter and joking in between takes, which I really needed. It was really helpful for me. And I think for all of us, obviously, because we're all participating, that kind of playfulness, I was like, oh, I love the compassion that actors have for each other, and the ability to laugh even in the most challenging of circumstances.
Sarah, sounds like you created a good set. Well done.
Thank you. I'm thrilled to hear that.
Ron, a favorite moment from making Dead Connection?
Well, the film's only, what, 90 seconds long? So I'm just kind of amazed it happened. I mean, again, when I got the call Wednesday night to come up with, some ideas, and then by Saturday afternoon, it was shot. I know I'd seen nothing. I'm over here. And so when I saw the first assembly, it was just kind of amazing. I've been on some really badly run TV shows before where there's this kind of freedom when you're backed into a corner to kind of don't get hung up on stuff and just get something out. And I'm amazed we don't do this more.
Mm-hmm.
I'm amazed how quickly it all came together. And now emotionally, we're very much a different kind of film than what it sounds like Not Him is. And it's more of a situation than a character piece. But I was just amazed that it turned out as well as it did, frankly.
Yeah, it's freaky short and wonderful. Delaney, how about you? Have a highlight that you want to share, a favorite moment?
I think the what was maybe the most fun was the music going in. I called a guy named Felix Brenner, a friend of mine, and he put some music on, and it really heavy-handed. It just goes for it, and really loud. And I've done plenty of things where we don't need music, it should speak for itself, or the music shouldn't hold your hand. But for this, it's just like, let's just go for it. Let's just like go heavy and loud. And sometimes you go to the movies and it's like the music's more fun than the movie, or you're at a movie just to basically hear a wonderful music.
Yeah, I want to add, I have in my notes for Not Him, creepy music track. Well done, Sarah. And then I have nice touch with the raining sound effects, Delaney. So you had rain going out through the
We did. We started layering in some really subtle, and there's like buzzing from the lights and stuff like that. Yeah.
Well done. Yeah, well done.
That's so fun. That sound design stuff that probably most audiences don't even register. It's just so much fun doing the mix.
And I would add, that's probably an answer to one of my questions earlier about what makes Scary 2, the layering of sound effects and, subconscious things. Well, that's all the time we have. Do you guys want to add anything that I haven't asked you? This is your chance to add something. Otherwise, I'm going to wrap it up.
I just wanted to add something based on what I'm listening to about Not Him, but really Scary is emotional. And it's when we can relate to a situation. And it sounds like, for instance, in your film, there's an everyday, relatable, understandable tension and conflict that people can drop themselves into. To me, the scariest moment in all of genre, and I, like Sarah, I'm a huge genre fan, is in an overlit room in broad daylight, and it is Shelley Duvall standing over a desk reading a manuscript. And I was in
Popeye.
I was in the theater the night it opened on Hollywood Boulevard for The Shining, when you could just hear the whole audience go, "Oh shit," because that person standing there reading that document, and this seems to overlap your film, Not Him, was, I'm stuck in this place with a person for the last 2 months has been writing the same sentence again and again. And I just get chills thinking about that. And I wish I could come up with that moment.
Yeah.
So it sounds like kudos to you guys. I mean, again, when you tap into the emotional like that, that's what makes it truly scary. The related.
Well, that's a good way to end Short and Scary.
Thank you, Jason. Our producer had another film with SF Shorts and did the Zoom, I think last year, with a short comedic doc. And he said, yeah, that's a lot of fun. Those guys are great. Definitely do. I don't know why he's not here, but he's like, he was really happy that we were doing this. And
thanks. I'm really happy you guys are doing it too. Yeah. I'm happy you guys made your movies, let alone got into our film festival. So congratulations.
Thanks, Jason.
Yeah. And if you're coming to San Francisco, look me up. Let's connect, reach out. In the meantime, be well and keep making movies. Make short films. All right. That's
Bye,
another Q&A for the SF Short Film Festival. Thank you for watching and supporting independent movies and short films. Check out more short films at sfindie.com. Thanks for watching.